welcome to this week's episode on The Dope, on Travel Insights with Visionaries. Today we have with us Gaurav Aggarwal, CEO and co-founder of Savaari.com, one of India's largest and most successful online car rental companies. Gaurav is a bachelor's in electronics engineering from Mumbai University and has completed his master's from the Georgia Institute of Technology. Thereafter, he started working with Cisco Systems in San Jose in USA. While still at Cisco, he started Savaari.com in the year 2006, and by the financial year 2008, he was already running it at a profit. And eventually in the year 2011, he resigned from his job, moved back to India to take full control of Savaari and run it full time. With over 15 years of delivering quality chauffeur-driven car rentals, Savaari currently provides services in over 130 cities in India. And the services include, plain vanilla airport transfer services to intercity travel, as well as intracity travel. And they have a network of 25,000 vendors and driver partners across India and do an average of about 1,000 bookings per day. While up until now, they have been focusing on the online retail customer on their online platform and simultaneously work with a few corporates, in terms of corporate deals, and also with a couple of the major online travel platforms. They're now looking at aggressively expanding their footprint across the travel agent community. And Gaurav is all geared up for that. So welcome, Gaurav. Welcome to our show today.
Thanks, Amish, for the nice intro, and thanks for having me here. Look forward to a chat.
Yes, absolutely. So let's get straight into it. I'm sure a lot of people have asked you this question, considering that you were in a job with a good company back in the US of A. What kind of made you get into this venture? What was the germination of the idea? Where did it all start? And how has it moved from that day on till today, 15 years from there?
Absolutely, yeah. So that's a great question. So, one is that I was very interested in cars from very childhood, as far as I can remember. Second thing is, I had been booking car rentals online in the US since '98. This is the year when I went there. Mm-hmm. In 2004, I was coming back to India, and I had to go from Delhi to Dehradun. So I was trying to book a car rental online, of course, that I could trust, and I know that I could just trust the service as well as the prices. And that's where I was very surprised that there was hardly any company that I could actually book online at that time. Leave alone trusting them, leave alone the reasonability of the prices. And that's how the idea started. And that's when I started working on it. I talked to some people. Then my family has been in this transportation business, so they connected me with a few folks who said, okay, you want to do something, we'll help you out on ground. So in 2006 is when I sort of launched the website, and it was just with the investment of 50,000 rupees. Of course, those were the better times. Now people require millions of dollars of funding. So that's how we launched, and then we just put it on Google. We started getting customers from there. Then I know Yatra was the first customer that we signed up in, I think, December 2006. And then from there, every year we kept growing very well. And as you mentioned, that in second year of our operation, we actually became profitable. So that's how it all started. And of course, 2010, I knew that the way we are growing and the market opportunity that exists, I better sort of go to India and sort of start doing things. And that's where I moved back.
But tell me, when you started, considering that you would have to tie up so many vendors, etc., there must have been a lot of legwork involved in terms of contacting vendors in local cities and stuff like that. So how did you go about that? And did you go about it in terms of like zonal, city by city, or did you go all across India together?
So actually, we identified the cities that we were very interested in based on the size of the city, and that's a metric that even applies now. For example, if you look at the split, metros contribute 60% of our business, top 10 contributes 80%. So that applies. So luckily, my family connected me with one of the guys who was in travel business, was running his own travel agency. So he had some contacts that we could just use right away. And that's how it started. And of course, over the years, then it's a pretty much a daily exercise that we do of figuring out more vendors and improving the quality. And then of course, we are very, very finical about what experience the customers are getting, and we of course take actions based on that, which includes at times penalizing them, at times retraining them, or at times just figuring out, asking them to leave, and then of course getting someone else to replace them. So it's a continuous exercise since then.
How have you driven traffic to your website? How have you actually managed to pull customers to come and get onto your platform and make bookings there? What has been your marketing and sales strategies?
That is a great question, actually. So primarily, our business is actually fairly sort of, we dominate the Google organic search scene in India. So as far as car rentals is concerned, we actually pretty much are the biggest as far as organic searches are concerned. And that drives our 90% of our retail business. So that's as large as that's possible. So that has been our mainstay. And that is why it's not easy to become profitable, especially when you are retail, you're building a retail brand. But the fact that we have been frugal and the fact that we have been very efficient with the marketing channels has helped us. And of course, Google organic searches is one big part.
Also kept you going. Now, can you just tell us a little bit more about the car rental industry? Do you see a potential for it to grow in the coming years and establish some kind of a new travel trend?
So actually, it's surprising. If you look at just the numbers, car rental industry is close to $15 billion already. It's that big. And in fact, some estimates, this is the more conservative estimate of the car rental industry. Some estimates put it as high as $20 billion. And if you look at the breakup, close to $1 billion is on-demand car rentals, which are pretty much dominated by Ola and Uber. The remaining so this is 1 billion. Another 1.5 billion is actually the employee transportation, plus some of the more organized players who are focused on corporate car rentals. So that leaves pretty much $12.5 billion. That is the market, which is for local rentals as well as outstation trips. And this is still dominated by local players. Yeah. And that is where Savaari has perfected the model that we can deliver very high quality services on a pan-India basis at very, very competitive rates, which is what the gap that still remains in this industry of standardization across, and because the sector is unorganized, that's why a lot of travel business community actually do not prefer taking it as one of the mainstay business vertical for themselves. So that's the piece that we saw coming in here, and now of course all we are looking at is to create the right awareness that is needed for us to really, really consolidate a large share of this industry. So just to answer you, it's a very big industry actually. If you compare, of course you probably would have better numbers, but if you compare with hotel, it's a $30 billion industry. You compare with there, it's a $70 billion industry. So it's not that away. Of course, it's smaller than them, but it's still a $15 billion.
But it's still a large,
sizable industry. Yeah.
Now coming to the current unfortunate situation with the COVID-19 and the effect it's had on the travel industry as a whole, how has the transportation sector been affected? How badly have you been hit?
Yep. So I'll just divide it into two phases. One is the lockdown phase, and of course, since the first lockdown, which happened on 25th March, the travel has come to a halt, and by travel I mean all sectors of travel, including transportation. So lockdown 1 and lockdown 2, there was absolutely no movement. All the revenues almost came to zero. It's lockdown 3 when they started allowing cars to fly in the red and in the green and orange zones, is when we sort of started looking at some movement. But of course, as we know, most of the cities which matter were in the red. So that's where now of course in lockdown 4 they have released a little bit more. So we are seeing some revenue coming back, and of course these are mostly people who have been stranded and now trying to go back and figuring out means to go back. And frankly, I don't know how many more lockdowns are going to be there. So we have to wait. So the first phase is all about getting the restrictions lifted. So once all the restrictions are lifted and we are out of lockdown, which is when the second phase will start, when we can actually try to see that regular travel should start coming back. And of course, how soon the regular can become the normal that it was pre-COVID will depend on a lot of factors. How badly the cities are impacted by COVID, whether we have a vaccine or not, what government is doing to promote vaccine, and so many other factors.
Yeah. So now there is a thought process amongst the travel community that post-COVID, the tourism industry's revival is going to start with short vacation, just outside of the home city and stuff like that, Don't you think that's a huge opportunity waiting for you? And how do you plan to capitalize on that?
So absolutely. In fact, I'm very optimistic about car rentals more than I was before. So you're right. In fact, that is what we are. If you look at China, which is at least a couple of months ahead of the world in the whole COVID curve. So there we are seeing that people are actually trying to avoid places which actually need an air travel. That's why they are sort of traveling outside of the cities, or at max they're going to district within the same province. And for that, I mean, for India, it will be within the same state. So yes, there's a huge opportunity that we have to capture that kind of a market. And we have done a lot of, over the last 15 years, we have done a lot of optimization in our prices, so that the price that you get for your trip, whether it's near around your city or actually sort of within the state or even across states, is the most optimized ones. So one is, of course, we already have the product that is that will suit your requirement in terms of the quality, in terms of the prices. The second thing is, I know safety is going to be a very big concern for everyone, and that's why we have taken a lot of measures to ensure that the customer is as safe as possible in traveling with us. And it's not that we are just taking sort of this whole set of precautions for our customers and training our vendors and drivers. In fact, we are sort of looking at leading on this for the entire cab rental community in India. So in fact, we released a video which is one of the most circulated video on safety within the driver partner community, or what are the things that they can be taking to ensure that the travel is COVID safe, as safe as possible.
So you are setting into place some kind of protocols and some standard operating procedures for your vendors, for your drivers across the board.
Absolutely, that's what we are doing. So, for example, every car has to be disinfected daily, and also at the end of the trip, every car has to have a sanitizer. Every car needs to be aired after the customer has finished the trip. So these are on the car front. And as far as the customers are concerned, so we as far as the driver is concerned, we have managed. I mean, it's wearing of mask is mandatory, and we are recommending that you sanitize, wash your hands as and when you can, and as frequently as you can. And what we firmly believe is also that to ensure that COVID is at bay, customers are equally key in sort of ensuring that our travel is safe. So that's where we are recommending that you carry your own kit, which should have a sanitizer, and of course mask is mandatory. We will not allow you to board the cab if you're not wearing the mask. And plus we are also going ahead and telling them that if you can carry your own linen, then you can actually put it on the back seat, so that your sort of back seat is as hygienic as your own home. So that's what sort of we are promoting, and I think these are good enough safety precautions to ensure that the travel is safe and we can keep COVID at bay.
When you're looking at the sustainability aspect in tourism, which has become a key word now, everyone is talking in terms of sustainability. How do you plan to look at it? Not immediately maybe, but over the next few years, with the advent of electric cars or hybrids, etc., would you be inducting them into your fleet, or at least provide those services to the customers?
Absolutely. So of course, I think sustainable travel is one very important aspect, and of course we all have to be responsible towards the environment. So one of the things that we have already done in Savaari is that we are as paperless as possible. So even when we do corporate business with a selected few corporate customers, generally you have to sign the duty slip, and then you have to put all the bills together, take a printout and send it to them. So what we have done is that we have a complete electronic format where even the signature is taken on the driver app. So that way we are very, very paperless and doing our bit to save the environment. And you're right, we are the biggest consumers of fossil fuel in that sense. So of course, moving to electric cars makes most sense. However, we are not yet there in terms of being able to actually take it and build a viable business, both in terms of the range, the price of the car, range of how many kilometers the car can run, and the price at which the electric cars are sort of coming at this point. But of course, we are following them very intently. The moment they become more viable, we'll certainly want to jump onto it, and it certainly makes all sense to be there. And I'm assuming in certain years, with both the government and the private push, the infrastructure would be there that will support the kind of that electric vehicles can become a mainstay and not the combustion engine based vehicles.
Coming down to, you are in the car rental business and you already have technology in place, etc. Are you in any way thinking in terms of expanding and going into say holidays, or allowing people to plug in a vacation, a hotel booking along with a car booking or something of that kind?
Absolutely. I think that it makes a lot of sense, because someone who has booked a air hotel or is going to travel will require all the 2-3 things. So yeah, we'll be open to it. We have not explored it very, very seriously, but that has been at the back of our mind that we should be able to offer the entire package, and we'll certainly look and explore for the right partners to do it, because we don't want to get into the ops aspects of it. We want to just keep the ops aspects to car rentals, but of course if there's a good player who's there and is equally interested, we can actually look at certain aspects, certain alliances and partnership where we are offering the customer the entire package, which includes air hotels. But of course, we would not want to get into the ops of that.
So thank you, Gaurav. Thank you so much for this chat and to throwing light more on Savaari as well as the car rental industry. And I hope to meet up with you personally. Unfortunately, because of this COVID, we've had to do it like this. But maybe going ahead, we'll meet personally once again and
absolutely
catch up with you at that time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I look forward to meeting you in face to face, and thanks for having me here. It was nice talking to you.
Not at all. It's a pleasure.
Same
and
here.
For our viewers, we hope you liked this show. And if you did, please don't forget to click on like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, stay safe, stay home.